Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Matt O'Lean. On this edition of Prairie Mosaic, we'll visit a space where creativity and talent flourish, watch stained glass complement nature, and listen to a regional band perform their own style of reggae music.
Do it for the birds and do it for the family.
You might think of a printing press as a big, bulky piece of equipment, but NDSU's School of Design, the Jihinkapa Zoo in Wahpeton, and the North Dakota Council on the Arts have come together to create the Tiny Print Press, a technologically friendly and fun device used by elders and school children to create an endangered species field guide.
Well, the Tiny Printing Press is related to a project we did previously, which is we developed Tiny Printing Press with activity guides that were then distributed to over 200 schools in the state. And the thought was that for those care facilities and schools that have a pen pal program, for instance, they could print postcards, stuff like this, off of a Tiny Print Press and be in touch with one another. This was a model that was done in Europe, developing these tiny print presses, which are made by 3D printers, so they're very inexpensively made, but very durable. What we did with the school, NDSU, is we worked with their department and said, okay, some of the people we work with have physical limitations. How can we change the design of a tiny print press to make it more accessible to be able to be used effectively with people who have mobility issues?
I love the design of these presses. Part of what I love about it is that it's absolutely a functional item.
So the first step is that we will get our hardware, different components 3D printed, and then I will assemble components and stages. And everybody, when they first see the tiny press, everyone has to turn the handle because it's such an engaging piece of technology.
We first started working with the North Dakota Council on the Arts and the Art for Life program through a project that used the tiny press as a way to move through different folk art curriculum. And then what we would do is take that curriculum that we developed, move it into elder care facilities and schools as a way of both teaching that as an art form, also working with printmaking, and then there was also sort of an intergenerational component where we would think about how can we use this as an object that can bring people together. The Endangered Species Field Guide is sort of a fun twist on the project because it allows us to play with something that is almost like a collection process where visitors to zoos or people who engage with the field notes, they get to go and see some of those animals and then use the press as a way to sort of engage with something like a paw print or go ahead and print sort of a version of that animal or a sketch of that animal.
We identified the endangered species at each of the 4 zoos. So I reached out to the other zoo directors. We have 4 zoos in North Dakota, and they were happy to give their list of endangered species, and then we sent that to those helping with the field guide and wanted to showcase some things. Sometimes people don't think that North Dakota has these species. It's just a wonderful way to involve everyone in this fabulous project.
Today was the tiny printing press with the endangered species.
Pretty neat.
We had the zoo come in and talk about the different animals at the zoo and some of the endangered ones. And then NDSU explained the tiny printing press, and then the kids and the tenants got to operate the printing press. The interaction between the students and the tenants was great. The intergenerational learning between the two is phenomenal. You have the residents that when they start talking, their eyes light up, they start to smile. Some people who are withdrawn, when they see a kid and the kids start interacting, they come out of their shell and they express their feelings and communicate better with the kids than they do with, say, you or I.
Who doesn't love working with or seeing animals? When you bring together art that is then also connected to animal presentations and interaction with animals and interaction between elders and kids, the room just lights up.
The residents have become our friends through the years. It's more than just visiting and talking about the zoo or giving enrichment. We always say if the seniors and the kids get half as much out of it as we do, it's a win. To bring that full circle, when those kids came in, sat at the tables with the seniors right away, didn't hesitate, very friendly both ways, and to watch the seniors and the children work together with the tiny printing press, with the animal plates in there, and making cards and making pictures and smiling and laughing.
We keep finding that it's this funny little object that we can move into these different settings, and it's really flexible. All it is a tool that makes prints, but when you start to imagine it as a tool to engage people and a tool that can be used to help form connections, all of a sudden its application becomes really broad.
Well, I think this project really has potential to become a model, not just in our state, but in many other states. North Dakota is seen as a national model for art and creative aging. But then you also see the children, like we did today, helping the elder and asking advice for the elder. You know, it shows that goodness, I think, that interaction between generations.
For 30 years, Sherri Kruger-Kukowski has been creating mosaic art from her studio in Badger, Minnesota. Her primary medium is stained glass, and she loves to incorporate natural materials like driftwood and rocks to add texture. She strives to evoke emotion and inspire the viewer in each intricate creation.
I am a stained glass mosaic artist, but I also dabble in multimedia mosaics. I have been a mosaic artist for approximately 30 years, and it started with seeing a stepping stone in a wayside rest. Stained glass is the type of glass that you see in your church windows, so it allows light inside. But the very cool thing about stained glass is it will also reflect light to you. So the process is making all kinds of little itty bitty pieces and putting them all back together again into a pattern or design or imagery. And I like to use stained glass as my primary medium, but then I also bring in natural items such as rocks, driftwood, seashells, just different things to give it some texture. Well, I have a piece on the counter behind me that I've started, and it started with a picture. And I take a piece of tracing paper and lay it over the picture, draw out the main lines of the imagery, then find a copy machine and start blowing it up and making it different sizes. Sometimes I'll shrink it, sometimes I'll enlarge it, sometimes I'll only enlarge a portion of it. And then it's to start picking the glass out of an assortment of colors to try to decide what mood are you trying to create. And then you start cutting it, scoring, cutting, chipping, and then you start putting it back together piece by piece, gluing. And finally, once everything's in place and that's ready, you may do a final grout, and then we just clean it and seal it, frame it if it needs to be framed, and then it's ready for your home. It seems like most of my artwork is around nature. I'm more comfortable working with nature. I've been really dabbling in a lot of abstract, but even the abstracts are based on colors in nature. One of the pieces that I just finished is 20 little 5x7s. They're seasons. So it's the colors of the seasons as they transpire from one season into the next. And that one still is all about the colors of nature. My favorite part is probably the actual just cutting, and when I get a cut to go, just the perfect way. It flows, it comes across the line, and it just cracks right down the line where you want it and separates. Those are probably my favorite moments because I'm like, "Ooh, look at that cut I just did. That was pretty great." Everything is hand cut now, completely, either with a chipper, which creates little chips of glass to work with, or slivers of glass, or we'll score major shape. It's just a glass score. It creates a little scratch in the glass, and then you use a breaking pliers to apply the correct pressure to make it break. And just depending on what I'm doing that day and how I'm feeling, sometimes it breaks really nicely, and sometimes you just put all your tools down and you go find something else to do. I also use a grinder to get some of those shapes, or we call them glass boogers, where there's little sharp points or little bumps that you want to take off. We'll use that. You've also got breaking pliers and running pliers, and there are just a plethora of tools available to try to make sure your edges get to where you need them to be. I know I've completed a piece of work when, one, I'm satisfied with how it looks, but also I always have a size in mind. I always start with a frame. I went to Philadelphia on a grant from the Northwest Arts Council to study public art. And Bonnie Fitzgerald, the instructor there, said, "Start at home." So I came back to Badger thinking about trying to put together something about the history of our community. The Heritage Wall in Badger is a 24-foot by 10-foot stained glass mosaic wall. We had it inside a building on Main Street, and that way the community could come in and they could work on it. And I would just give them an area and a bucket of already cut glass and said, you know, fill this piece, fill this spot in this map. The mood of my artwork often goes with what mood I'm in or what colors I'm working with. If you're working with yellows and reds and oranges, it's going to be a much brighter, upbeat piece. The piece I'm working on right now is a dark piece because it was shot at sunset. So you're working in a lot of dark blues. So it's getting brighter, and then down here it's going to get really orange, and then it's going to get really dark again. When people come to see my art, I want them to feel something. I want them to be able to come away with just a calmness or a quirky smile. I like to hide things in my artwork. It's just like the Heritage Wall, you know, unless you walk up to it, you don't see Otis that's 1.5 inches high sitting below the porch, or the little chickens over on the far side. There's a lot more to it than what you first glance at. And what's interesting at art shows is people will make a quick lap and then they'll start circling back. And I like to see the ones that have made like 3 or 4 trips past my booth because something has caught their eye. And then they'll finally engage with you so that you can visit with them about the process. The fact that art can be interactive, I think, is very, very important.
Bumadiza Wigamig Creators Place is a small manufacturing center in Pine Point, Minnesota, near the White Earth Nation Reservation. Founder Gene Cruft shares with us how this facility offers locals employment, on-the-job training, and income through manufacturing and artistry.
In the Ojibwe language, Bumadizo means support oneself or provide for oneself. Wigamig is just a house or a place, so this is a place where people can provide for themselves or support themselves. I'm Jean Cruft, and I am the founder of Bumadiza Wigamig Creators Place. We are in Pine Point, Minnesota, and that is a reservation village on the White Earth Reservation. Right before the pandemic, I had started volunteering out here, and I saw the skills and the enjoyment people were having, and I thought, well, Pine Point needs a place to work. They need a place to be. But there isn't. There wasn't anything. There wasn't any kind of employment at all. So I thought, well, it would be good to have like a little center for manufacturing, arts, whatever people could do to have a place like that right here in Pine Point. And of course, I'm a retired educator, and I thought, well, that's a nice idea. However, about a week after I had that idea, my cousin, Albert Kukowski, had passed away and had left me $250,000. And I thought, well, that's what that's for. There just wasn't any doubt in my mind. So I ordered this steel building, created a board of directors, created a 501c3, a nonprofit. I don't know that anyone ever thought that I would really build this. However, it did. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, it's amazing to me that this has come together and actually worked. There are many barriers to people here going out beyond this community to find work. There is racial prejudice in the outer community. People often don't have valid driver's licenses or vehicles. There's criminal backgrounds that can look real bad on a resume if you have the resources to make a resume. And childcare, there's no real childcare here. So there are many barriers to going beyond this village to find work. And you know, the idea is this is kind of a stepping stone. Each person here has an individual plan, an employment plan that they are working on. And we identify the barriers that they have and figuring out ways to overcome those barriers while still getting the experience and skills that they need for going on and working someplace else. Well, we have 20 people from the Pine Point area. We have artists, visual artists. We have the people that are being trained in woodworking, people who are practicing the traditional arts with their beadwork and moccasin making. The big things that we can't ship, like the picnic tables and the park benches and the patio furniture, those have gone to parks. Different individuals have bought picnic tables. And so the big things go in the local area, but the smaller things, anything that we can ship, we put on our Creators Place Etsy site that is maintained by one of our trainees, Jeremy Mitchell. Just been amazingly good at figuring out how to do all that. Between the photography and the marketing and the sales copy and all of that, we have about 160 items on our Etsy site. So those things, they go all over the nation. A lot of things to the West Coast and the East Coast. And our wild rice, it's amazing how much goes to Hawaii. Who knows?
Every day is a blessing, you know. You wake up in the morning and... My name is David Edwards. I do artwork. I actually draw and paint and help out around the shop whenever it's needed. And we've grown a lot in over a year. A lot of this stuff wasn't here a year ago, but now I come here and it's just this is the best thing, you know, that could ever happen to all of us, me as an artist, you know, everybody that comes in here and contributes. This place is something else. It's the best, you know. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it is a dream job.
I see it as doing right what it's doing right now, but being an actual manufacturing center and arts center where people are practicing their art for as many hours a week as what they want to in order to sustain themselves and their families. There's a dream that we would have land next to this that would have automotive center. Many backyard mechanics that are excellent here in the community, and so it'd be very nice to have a shop where they could have a lift for the vehicles and that kind of thing. And of course the real dream is that this will be totally run and operated by people from this community. So this will be their economic venture. I'm just amazed that it's just exactly what I thought it might be. And that doesn't happen a lot in a person's life. So yeah, I'm just amazed. and thankful.
Rootz Within is a talented group of musicians and friends from throughout Northwest Minnesota who enjoy sharing their unique island reggae style of music with fans around the country. We were excited to have them perform for our series, Prairie Musicians.
Hi, my name is Jonah Bowe. I sing and play guitar in Rootz Within. I'm from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Ryan, our bass player, and Anita, our hand percussionist, also live in Detroit Lakes. And then Tyler, our other guitarist and singer, lives in Rochester, Minnesota, and Scott, our drummer, lives in Chaska. With the exception of Scott, we all have roots in Detroit Lakes, so that's where we all met each other and came together and started playing music. We took a trip to Hawaii in 2016. We had been playing a couple of shows together, but we didn't have a name or anything. We sat down and started throwing out names and different ideas, and after a couple hours, we came up with Rootz Within. The idea behind it was that we just all have different roots. We all kind of come from different musical places and different places in life.
I'm letting go. From the depths of my soul, I dug my roots into the soil. This is a song to right my wrongs, and I'm releasing them today. To let them go to a positive way, so and I can be free. Well, see what you need to see, and don't let it go to waste. When we can come together, when all I see is strife, then we can make it through this life and do it so much better. And if we do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family, and do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. We do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. And do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. When separation takes its toll, the world, I just want you to know exactly what you're feeling. Well, and if every day's the same, well, then you're letting them go to waste. Well, you can make a change. If we do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family, and do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. We do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. And do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. See what you need to see, and don't let it fade away. Where we can love each other. Well, and I know that we can thrive, that we can make it through this life and live it so much better. And And if we do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family, and do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family. And if we do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family, do it for the earth, and do it for the birds, and do it for the family.
If you know of an artist, topic, or organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org.
You can watch this and other episodes of Prairie Mosaic on Prairie Public's YouTube channel. And please follow Prairie Public on social media as well. I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Matt O'Lean. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.